Don't miss the tea. Subscribe now.
Girl, pour the wine. Fill it to the brim. No, grab the whole bottle. You are absolutely not going to believe what just landed in my mailbox. I need you to sit down because if you're standing up, you're going to pass out from the sheer, unadulterated audacity of this woman. You know how I've told you we're basically low contact with my in-laws, right? We see them maybe twice a year, we keep the conversations bland, we protect our peace. You know the drill. My mother-in-law is the queen of revising history to make herself the victim. If there isn't a spotlight on her, she literally withers away like a plant without water. And my father-in-law, useless. He just enables her nonsense to keep her quiet. Okay, so picture this. It's January. We're chilling, recovering from the holidays. We go to the mailbox and there's a New Year's card from her. Innocent enough, right? Wrong. I open this card, expecting maybe a generic, happy 2024 or whatever. But no. Buried in there is a handwritten paragraph, a manifesto, really, about how she was recently looking through our wedding album. Girl, we have been married for 10 years, a decade. She writes this whole sob story about how upset looking at the photos made her feel. She says, and I quote, she will never forget how we excluded her from the photos. But wait, it gets better. Her other complaint. She is devastated that she looks so underdressed compared to everyone else. And whose fault is that? Ours, obviously. The events she is complaining about, they were 100% the consequences of her own actions. But how did it all go down? Stay tuned for part 2. First of all, let's talk about her time management, or lack thereof. This woman is chronically late. And I don't mean oops, traffic was bad. I mean she is consistently 45 to 60 minutes late to everything. It's pathological. She has missed actual airplane flights. She showed up an hour late to a funeral. Who does that? So 10 years ago, when we were planning the wedding, my husband knew this was going to be a disaster. He actually sat her down before the big day, gave her a physical copy of the timeline, and explained, "Mom, we are doing family photos before the ceremony. If you are late, you will miss the pictures." She threw a literal tantrum. She told us multiple times that this was unfair because it takes her a long time to get ready. But we stood our ground. We practically had them sign a contract. Fast forward to the wedding day. Everyone was staying on the property. Her room was a 5-minute walk from the photo location. Guess who was late? She strolls in 20 minutes after the start time. And the look on her face, she was smug. She was actually proud because she was only 20 minutes late instead of her usual hour. By the time she got there, my FIL and siblings-in-law had already finished most of their shots. So, she managed to slide into a few shots at the very end. But immediately, she started trying to push the schedule back. She's clucking at the photographer, trying to direct the shoot. Thank God for my photographer. They shut that down fast. She spent the rest of the reception bitching that we purposely excluded her by not building the wedding schedule around her inability to tell time. And now, 10 years later, she's putting it in a New Year's card like it's fresh trauma. But that's not even the worst part. Wait until you hear about the dress drama in part 3. But wait, we haven't even touched on the dress. Oh my God, the dress. This turned into such a massive, dramatic mess during the planning. Our wedding was strict black tie. My Mill hates it. She tried to bully us into changing the entire dress code of the wedding to casual just so she wouldn't have to wear a gown. When she realized we weren't budging, she crossed her arms and told us she refused to wear a floor-length gown. My husband offered to pay for her dress. She shut him down. It wasn't about money, it was about control. Eventually, my husband told her, "Mom, wear whatever you want, but just know everyone else will be in gowns and tuxes. If you don't dress the part, you are going to stick out like a sore thumb." Did she listen? Of course not. The day of the wedding comes. Every single female guest is in a gorgeous floor-length gown, and in walks my mother-in-law. She is wearing a tea-length dress. It looked like something you'd wear to church on a random Tuesday. And on her feet, Old Navy sandals. Not even nice dress sandals, like casual, rubber-soled sandals. I wish you could have seen the look on her face when she looked around the room. It was the surprised Pikachu face in real life. She realized instantly that she looked completely out of place. She felt underdressed. She felt uncomfortable. And whose fault was that? Hers. But how did she spin this in her New Year's card? Find out in the final part. But in this revisionist history card she sent us, oh no, it's our fault. She claims we didn't tell her what black tie meant. She claims we approved her dress. We never approved that tragedy. We kept referring her to the invitation and the website. And how does she explain that her own husband managed to figure out what a tuxedo was? She says the few photos she actually managed to be in are ruined because she's not in proper attire. So let's recap. She was late to the photos despite being a 5-minute walk away, so she missed most of them. Then, she actively chose to ignore the dress code despite being warned, so she looks like she wandered in from a backyard barbecue in the few photos she is in. And somehow, in her twisted little mind, I ruined her mother of the groom experience. We didn't respond to the card, but she couldn't leave it alone. A few days ago, she sent my husband an email saying, "I really want to talk about the letter I wrote." She is itching for a fight. She wants to relitigate a wedding from the Obama administration. My husband, the absolute legend, simply replied, "Thank you for the card. Happy New Year." That's it. Gray rock method at its finest. Honestly, looking back, it's almost funny if it wasn't so pathetic. She really thought she could power play us on our wedding day, and when it backfired, she spent 10 years stewing in her own juices about it. We are moving from low contact to no contact real quick. Can you believe this woman?